Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. One of the billion-dollar babies of the state is the university and community college system. Today, we have the boss on the show. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Interim Chancellor Jim Rogers recently received the power to fire university presidents. We wonder if he has anybody in mind. And high school principals think they got it tough. Sam?
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Dan Mason, Harry York, and Jeanmarie Simpson. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome to the program. We start out with a disclaimer, as always. Jim Rogers is the owner of Sunbelt Broadcasting, which is Channel 3 in Las Vegas, Channel 4 in Reno, and also controls Channel 1, 2, 3 in Las Vegas. He is also the Interim Chancellor of the University and Community College System of Nevada, and we welcome you to the program, Jim.
I'm glad to be here.
Let's start out with, you now have the power to fire presidents, even though they have the right to appeal. Why did you want that power?
Well, you have to understand that this is a system, as you know, and it has 8 parts. It's very difficult to get the presidents to agree to work together. So from my standpoint, from the chancellor's standpoint, running each of the individual universities or colleges or the community college system was really not the problem. The problem was to get them to work together. For example, UNR and UNLV, and we all know about this feud that has lasted 50 years that really is not very productive for the system itself. So I felt that it was essential for the success going forward of the system that the chancellor have the authority and the power to tell these presidents that they are going to work together and that if they don't, there will be very serious consequences.
Do all of your contracts with the current presidents have that ability in there?
I can't tell you that it does. I can tell you that all of the ones that we have recently done have that authority given to the chancellor. Dr. Lilly's will come up, and then as we go forward, each of the contracts will call for that. We haven't had any problem of getting the presidents, as we've renewed their contracts, to agree to that. It has not been a very hard subject.
Jim, based upon your first comments there, do Carol Harder and John Lilly have your full support at this time?
Do they have my full support?
Yes.
Of course they have my full support. Yeah, and why wouldn't they?
Well, no, you were just talking about this feud that's been going on for 50 years, so I was just kind of curious, based upon that, as to what...
Well, you have to distinguish between full support and getting them to do some of the things that I think are essential for the success of this system going forward. So I support each of them in what they're doing now, but my feeling has been that they have not been cooperative, that they have not been... that they haven't had their first obligation, which is I view it. Now, they view it a little differently. Each of them views the college or the university where they are as their primary obligation, and that's true. But at the same time, they have an overall obligation to the system to make the system work. So when they have differences that injure the system or don't produce enough for the system, then I have very serious problems with that. So to answer your question again, I fully support the two of them. But that doesn't mean that I have not been very disappointed in some of the actions that they have taken that I think are inconsistent with the best interests of the system itself.
Jim, a big story here in Reno has been the scandal up at UNR Farms over the alleged treatment of animals there. What do you think of Dr. Lilly's management style or leadership style in confronting these allegations?
Well, I strangely enough, when the newspaper article came out, I think it was, last Thursday or Friday, I got the article that morning, and Dr. Lilly was in my office for other reasons. That morning, we talked about it. I don't think at this point that I want to prejudge the outcome of this. I think that Dr. Lilly has acted in good faith. I think that he's made every effort that I've seen that could be possible to resolve these issues. Now, you know, different people have different styles. I tend to go right into the subject myself, right into the matter, and I try to be as open as I can. In fact, if anything, I'm probably more open than anybody I know, but maybe that comes with my background with the media. And I think that academia tends to circle the wagons initially and want to make a study about what's going on, and one of the problems with that is that while you're doing the study to find out what has gone on, the media starts to foam and foment out there. And what you end up with is a lot of conclusions being drawn without the facts being there. I have every confidence in Dr. Lilly going forward. I think that we've asked that there be an independent investigation of that so that any conclusion that is reached is not tainted by any possible conflict. And that's where we are, and that's where we're going. But I can't comment on the eventual outcome because I don't know what it's going to be.
I wanted to get your opinion on this, Jim. There was a camera placed outside in the hallway of Professor Hussein because allegedly there was a swastika drawn on the door, but was removed by the person who saw that. Would you think it would be a wise thing in these days of CSI to have a forensic test to see if there actually was a swastika placed there?
Well, you know, that's a scientific question. I'm troubled anytime I see hidden cameras, all right? So you have to understand I go in with that kind of a bias or a prejudged position on that. So I'm very goosey when those things come up. I will tell you that I talked with Dr. Lilly about it. From the procedure, as I understand it, that was employed for putting the camera there, at this point I have no problem with it. I just wish that those things wouldn't arise. I'm very reluctant, I'm very uneasy, and I don't like hidden cameras. Now, the swastika thing, I don't know what the extent of that was. And here again, whoever the private or the separate investigator is in that is going to have to look at all of the facts and then determine whether we were reasonable, whether the system was reasonable in putting that camera there. But I'm in no position at this point to give you an opinion. Okay. When we get to that position, I'll give you my conclusion.
Okay, Jim, and we will come to you for that. We're going to take a break right now, earn some money, and come back with Jim Rogers. He's the Interim Chancellor of the University System right after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
You are watching Nevada Newsmakers.
And we continue our conversation with Jim Rogers, who is the Interim Chancellor of the University System.
Jim, there's been 2 proposals on funding the Millennium Scholarship. One is to take it out of the state surplus money, and the other is to sell bonds to cover it. Which of these plans would you endorse?
Well, I'm very reluctant to get into the bonding business. Of course, I have 2 separate feelings on this. First of all, let's talk about the surplus that's there. I have a great reluctance to refund that money, at least in the form that it is, to the public. I think that that refund will be so widespread and will really be fairly ineffective in its purpose. At the same time, we have this surplus, and I don't know what it's going to be. I'm told between $300 and $450 million, and it seems to me at this point that we have a real opportunity to use that $300 to $400 million for certain one-shot programs that will run in perpetuity. I, therefore, am against the money being refunded initially. Now let's talk about the Millennium Scholarships. I believe that this is really a very fine program. And I've been very enthusiastic about it. I've had a lot of conversations with Kenny Gwynn about it. I think that it was a brilliant idea. I think it has all sorts of long-term possibilities and short-term possibilities. The number of students that now go out of state to public institutions has been reduced appreciably. So what we're doing is we're better able to keep the better students at home and not lose them to out-of-state institutions, whereas if they once go there, they never come home. At the same time, I'm reluctant to get into the bonding business. It's not my decision. I have nothing to do with it. But I would hope that they will use the surplus to fund and set up the proper endowment going forward to fund those Millennium Scholarships.
Okay, Jim, the governor has proposed a 17% increase in the higher ed budget. You want 20%, since you got $1 million budget, easy math, that's about $300 million, the amount of the surplus that the governor wants to give back. How would you use that extra $300 million?
Well, last Wednesday or Thursday, we talked with all 8 of our presidents and said, at first I was going to call it a wish list, but it's not a wish list. It's a needs list, talking about certain funds that must be used for bricks and mortar, certain funds that must be used, for example, to upgrade the computer system, which I think came across in the Mayflower with one of my relatives. it's in awful shape. Believe me, we could use every nickel of that surplus. Obviously, we're not going to get it because there are a lot of other very needy and needy programs in the state, healthcare, et cetera, that have to have their needs fulfilled too. But I can tell you that there would be no problem at all in looking at the list that we submitted originally to the governor for construction of buildings at UNR, UNLV, the Community College of Southern Nevada, the Nevada State College, and the other two community colleges. So we have great needs, and we could suck up that whole $400 million very quickly.
You know, Jim, I just want to throw in here that Perry Como was on the program last Thursday, and he said that the actual amount of surplus by the time you roll in from the previous biennium and this biennium is around $1.4 billion. So it is substantially larger than just the money the governor wanted to rebate. So a lot more for you to go after if you'd like to. This currently
well, believe me, you know, we're not shy, and we see a great opportunity there to get all that we can. So whatever's there. Now, you know, they're gonna refill the rainy day fund with a couple of $100 million, and there's some other things that they're going to do before they get to us. But given the fact that, in fact, when we told all of our presidents, let's make up our needs list, let's get together, that was delivered to the office, my office, on Friday afternoon. And when I leave here this morning, I'm going back to the office, and we're going to start down that needs list. But my recollection is that when Dan Claich called me, that needs list was at $400 million, and that wasn't even without very substantial funding of the ongoing operation. So we can use it all.
Let me change subjects on you. You were in the middle of a search for a new chancellor. You said that you will stay through the legislative session ending in June. If that results in a failed search, would you be interested in continuing on as chancellor, and do you have the votes to support that?
I don't know whether I have the votes. I haven't talked with anybody about it. My own personal feeling is this. I thought that my staying there 13 months that I would get everything done that I wanted to get done, and that the things I wasn't able to get done in that 13 months, I probably couldn't get done in 20 years. So that break-off point, to me, seemed to be very reasonable. Now, if the search should fail, or if, for any reason, I'm not going to let the investment that I have in time, and believe me, this has been a 7-day-a-week job for the last 10 months and 3 months going forward. I'm not going to let that investment go down the tube. But I don't anticipate that's what's going to happen. My guess is, my judgment on this is that they'll be able to find somebody who's strong enough, who's got the will and the ability to carry forward with those things that need to be carried forward with. I don't know why people thought that the system was wrecked or damaged more than it really was. There had to be a little tweaking done, but you haven't seen any blood flow or anything of that sort in the 10 months that I've been there. I've been very pleased with the regents. I get along very well with them. I think that they function very well. You know, I've said that I am not in favor of an appointed board, nor am I in favor of reducing the size of this board. So going forward, I think that whoever the new chancellor is and whoever comes in is going to find that there is a foundation and a base there for doing the things that need to be done in the system. Now, if they couldn't find somebody, I would stay on at least long enough for them to continue to find somebody. But I'm not interested in the job permanently. I'm not. You know, I've told you I've been interested in them making or creating the job of a vice chancellor in charge of development. That I would like to do.
Can I ask you that? We're almost out of time. May I follow up on that? If you became vice chancellor for finance, wouldn't that be the toughest thing in the world for you to be sitting in that office with, and I don't want to be rude here, but you have a huge personality. If somebody were the chancellor, wouldn't it appear to be that you were still the chancellor even though they had that job? And you got about 20 seconds.
Well, you know, I guess that's a problem. It's the John Wooden problem, you know, when he stayed on as the retired coach at UCLA. I don't see myself that way. I probably would not house my office at the chancellor's office. And if it came to be that everybody thought that I was exercising too much authority or I was intervening or that sort of thing, I'd leave. I'm not going to get in the way of the new chancellor. And that's the new chancellor's call. If the new chancellor said, Jim, you're a real pain, go home, I'd say, fine, I'll go home.
Jim, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. We'll look forward to having you back on soon. Thanks very much for being
Thanks,
here.
Jim.
Glad to be here.
You're no pain.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this. If you have a passion for identifying issues facing Nevada's educational system and making a difference, we'd like to hear from you. Sunbelt Communications Company is reforming its editorial board and is now accepting applications from the public. The 15-member board will meet regularly to seek solutions to problems from kindergarten to higher education. If you're interested in applying, send your reasons and a brief history of your background to Joanne Pravetti at 1500 Four Master Lane in Las Vegas. The zip code is 89101. You can also email your information to jpravetti@kvbc.com. We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers in just about a minute.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are joined by our pundit panel. Today, Harry York, CEO of the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce, Jeanmarie Simpson, an activist and theater artist, and Dan Mason, program director for KOH News Talk 780. Welcome to all of you.
I just wanted to ask you, Harry, I'll start with you. Is it the chancellor said that they could use all that surplus, that 300 to 400 million surplus. The governor says he's adamant he wants that money returned to the taxpayers. He even said he warned of a taxpayer revolt if it wasn't. What is your feeling on that?
I don't think there's going to be a taxpayer revolt if he doesn't return it, or the legislature doesn't return it. But there's lots of other places for that 400 million. I think most people that I talk to and most business people would like to see it spent on one-time functions, like a new building or books at schools or a combination of that kind of thing.
Because we don't know that there will be a surplus available in future years.
Correct. And if you start spending it and you put it in the budget, then next year it's there and it multiplies from that point on. So use it for one time.
Okay, Jeanmarie?
Well, last legislative session we kept hearing about $400 million of deferred maintenance and in the schools, and it seems like the perfect fit, but I haven't heard anybody address that throughout this whole conversation.
Dan?
I want to know if anybody's seen the new transportation report that says our roads are a mess.
Yeah.
Hello?
You don't need to see the report.
You need to see the report to know that our road. When I drive down to Carson City, the work on that bypass, I think they made the pyramids quicker than they've built that freeway.
Well, the weather's been bad.
Yeah,
it was bad in Egypt.
I've got a $400 million wish list of my own.
Yeah, and then that's just a personal one. Well, I think that this is what's going to be interesting about this session, is seeing the squabbling that goes on with all the different interests who are looking at what they're going to do with the money. I think my big question about the university system is how much damage came out of the Ron Remington, John Cummings incident at the Community College of Southern Nevada, and Wendell Williams isn't in the legislature anymore. Will there be legislators who still want to take revenge on the university system, and can Chancellor Rogers take care of that?
Well, you just look at Governor Gwynn's State of the State message, and he almost glossed over higher ed altogether. His focus was on every other aspect of government.
I think you're right.
Well, we brought up the question of no funding in there for Nevada State College, but I believe there was like $28 million that he basically said to the university system you can use any way you want, and he presumed that would go to Henderson. Let's change the topic here. Brian Krlicki was on the program a couple of weeks ago, essentially said he was going to run for lieutenant governor. Now he's made it official. Steve Hill, who's already in the race, has already raised $600,000 in this race. That is a staggering amount of money this far ahead, as far as I'm concerned. Also, in this story that Cy Ryan put in the Las Vegas Sun, says that Kathy Augustine may be eyeing this position as well. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know. When it comes to Kathy Augustine and all of that, I honestly have no idea. what's right or wrong anymore. It's very confusing.
Harry, can Brian raise that kind of money?
Well, I don't know, and I don't know why he would want to. I mean, well,
he's term limited. He's term limited.
Oh, I understand that. But he's a bright person. He could get a job. He could do something else. He could run for something else.
Are you saying the lieutenant governor's job is a nothing position?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. In terms of economic development, it's not been a good position?
It's important in that, but if you're in a political thing and you're trying to run for office and have a future, I don't see that as one thing having a future.
Well, Lorraine Hunt thinks it's going to get her into the governor's seat.
I don't think she's right about that.
I don't think that's worked really well before.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm getting nowhere with this, folks.
I like Brian. He's a great guy. He needs to find something else.
Yeah, you don't want him to fall down the black hole of
right.
Political nothingness.
Boy, you guys are just taking on lieutenant governor's position. Lorraine Hunt will be on this program in the next couple of weeks. I may have to play her this tape and let her know what you think.
She's done a great job at that. I mean, for her, it's a part-time position, and you've always kind of thought that's just where she was going to go. Now I know she's talked about running for governor, but
I think the story here is that actually Kathy Augustine is seriously considering running for lieutenant governor, according to Cy Ryan's piece in the Las Vegas Sun. I'm kind of shocked. I agree with Harry Reid when he said this woman needs to lay low for a couple of years,
or longer,
right?
Even longer. I mean, there used to always be the thing if you did that kind of thing, you couldn't run for dog catcher and win, and I think that's where she's at.
And I would agree.
Everybody says, "What is she thinking?"
Review-Journal editorial yesterday came up with another idea on the property tax controversy. Why not just adjust the assessment ratio, lower that, and do it in different counties? Would that make sense, Harry?
The assessment ratio.
Yeah, right now it's 35%.
I suppose you could do that.
And then raise it in the counties that would be suffering.
I think we're looking at this whole thing in the wrong way. I mean, what we've been looking at it is all relative to the evaluation around the house. We need to look at it as to what government does with that money, and we should have government be adjusting their rate down when the assessed valuation goes up. They shouldn't just be able to suck all that money up. And I think that the conservatives who keep saying, we need to look at what it's costing me up at Incline because my valuation's going up. Well, yeah, it's going up. It has gone up. Your house is worth twice as much. But government shouldn't get twice as much money. Okay, and I think they were attacking it from the wrong side.
And that's where we got to leave it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And coming up tomorrow?
Well, Sam, we have Frank Fahrenkopf, the head of the American Gaming Association. We'll talk about gaming and politics.
Be a great show. We'll
Thank
see you
you
then.